Nana stood before the chief priest, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and trepidation. She had just learnt from her that her mother, Adana, was indeed alive, but the oracles had remained silent about her whereabouts. Determined to find her, Nana knew she had to seek answers beyond the mortal realm. With this in mind, she prepared herself for a journey to meet the 4 river gods who had raised her from childhood. As Nana approached the sacred river, the waters rippled in anticipation of her presence. She stepped onto the riverbank and called upon the gods by their titles. Edidi, the wrathful spirit of floods. Nkata, the patient and wise spirit of the riverbed. Ulama, the fierce destroyer of all living creatures that crossed her domain. And Arima, the shape-shifting spirit of the deep currents. The river gods rose from the waters, their forms majestic and ethereal, shimmering in the moonlight. They hailed her, their voices resonating like the gentle flow of the river. Nana, Queen of the 5 Kingdoms, Unifier of the lands, you have done well. You have brought peace where there was once chaos. Nana bowed deeply before them. Great gods, I come before you seeking guidance. I have just learned that my Earth Mother, Adana, is alive. I thought she was lost to me forever, but I need your help to find her. The gods exchanged knowing glances, their expressions wise yet somber. Edidi spoke first, his voice as smooth as the rushing water. We rarely interfere in the affairs of mortals, Nana, but your case has always been unique. Nkata added, her tone soft and maternal. You were raised by us, but your search for your mother is a journey only you can make. Ulama nodded. While you are Queen of the 5 Kingdoms, your role as the unifier is far from over. You have more adventures ahead, Nana. Arima, the most mysterious of the 4, whispered. Go now. Follow the path the spirits set for you. Trust your instincts. This is a journey of the heart, and it must be made by you alone. With heavy resolve, Nana returned to Baser and summoned the kings of the kingdoms, including her father, King Obi. She stood before them, her eyes burning with determination, as she addressed the gathering. I call upon all of you to declare a search for my mother, Adana, across the 5 kingdoms. Whoever finds her will be rewarded greatly. Lands and titles will be given, and their status will be raised above others. King Obi, her father, rose and spoke, his voice heavy with guilt. Nana, I owe you and your mother an apology. I was afraid of my father's wrath. I did not fight for Adana enough, nor did I know she was carrying you. I failed both of you. Please forgive me. Nana, though deeply hurt by his confession, nodded. Your regret is noted, father, but right now we must focus on finding her. The kings returned to their kingdoms, eager to aid the queen in her quest. For 14 days, able-bodied men searched every village and corner of the 5 kingdoms. Rumors abounded, but they yielded no true leads. Nana began to lose hope. One night, she dreamt of walking along the shores of the river Amuta. The waters surged violently, pulling her under. She struggled until she remembered her true power and screamed, I am Nana, the daughter of the river gods, the unifier of the 5 kingdoms. The water does not control me. Instantly, the flood calmed, and a voice whispered, you know who you are. Why ask mere mortals to do what you can do yourself? Upon waking, Nana knew she had to continue the search on her own. She prepared for a journey, calling upon her friend and advisor, Uju. You must stay here and assist my father. I have to go alone. Nana, disguised as a commoner, set off for the kingdom of Nwenga. Days passed as she searched, speaking to villagers and scouring remote areas, but she found nothing. Weary, she journeyed to Kenga, the kingdom where she was raised. She rested at the palace, where King Chima and Queen Oma, once her foes, greeted her. Though they offered to throw a feast, Nana refused, keeping her disguise. That night, Queen Oma came to Nana's chambers with news. "I've searched for your mother, Nana, and I heard of a woman, Aluda, who once mentioned a crying spirit in the forest. I believe she wasn't speaking of a spirit, but perhaps your mother." The next day, Nana sought out Aluda's home, only to find that Aluda had passed away. Her son, however, shared a story passed down by his mother. She said she heard the cry of a woman in the forest, a woman who lost her child. The villagers believed it was a spirit, but maybe it was your mother. Intrigued, Nana asked if he had heard of any unusual places or lost lands. The man recounted an old tale of a sixth kingdom, one that had vanished many generations ago, rich and prosperous, but now forgotten. Nana's heart quickened. Could this lost kingdom be her answer? Nana's heart raced as she took in the man's tale of the forgotten kingdom. She thanked him for his story and ventured into the forest, the weight of her mission pressing down on her like never before. She ventured deeper into the forbidden forest, following the faint echoes. The silence of the forest was only broken by the occasional hoot of an owl. The trees loomed tall and close, their branches clawing at the sky. Suddenly, movement caught her eye. She knocked an arrow and released it, only to hear a sharp cry of pain. Racing forward, she found a young man, his leg wounded where her arrow had grazed him. "Who are you?" he asked, his eyes a mixture of pain and confusion. "I'm sorry," Nana said, breathless. "I thought you were a wild animal." She knelt, applying pressure to his wound. The young man flinched, but didn't pull away. "My name is Jano," he finally said, his voice low. "What brings you so deep into this forest, where even the bravest fear to tread?" Nana met his gaze, seeing both suspicion and curiosity. "I am searching for someone special to me. Have you heard of the Lost Kingdom?" Jano's eyes widened slightly. "The Lost Kingdom of Budo," he whispered, almost to himself. "Is that what they call us? Budo?" Nana repeated, a flicker of hope sparking within her. "Tell me more." As she tended to his wound, Jano revealed that he was from Budo. "Budo is cursed," he admitted. "No one can leave, not even to find the outside world." Nana felt a spark of recognition. "I must go with you. I believe my mother may be there." Jano, intrigued by her strength, agreed, and they traveled together. The village of Budo lay hidden under a canopy of towering trees, shrouded in mist that seemed almost sentient. As Nana stepped into the clearing, she felt a strange pull at her heart. Villagers, their faces worn and solemn, paused to look at her with a mix of curiosity and reverence. When they finally reached Budo, Jano took her to Adana. Immediately upon seeing Adana, Nana felt a haunting familiarity and began to cry. "Nana?" the woman whispered, her voice cracking. Tears welled in Nana's eyes as she rushed forward. "Mother," she cried, collapsing into Adana's embrace. The years melted away in that moment, the forest and its curses forgotten as mother and daughter clung to each other, hearts finally mended after years of separation. "My daughter," Adana said, pulling back to study Nana's face. "You came for me? How did you find Budo?" "I followed whispers and stories," Nana said, wiping away a tear. "I am no longer just the girl who was taken from you. I am Queen Nana, the unifier of the 5 kingdoms." Adana's eyes widened, and she laughed softly, a sound that was both joyful and tinged with disbelief. "The unifier. The spirit spoke of you, Nana. They said a unifier would come, one who could break the curse binding Budo." A shadow crossed Nana's face. "A curse? Tell me everything." Adana led her to a fire at the center of the village, where the elders gathered, their faces lined with the weight of untold stories. Jano joined them, his presence both grounding and comforting. Adana began to speak, recounting how Budo had been cut off from the rest of the world, held captive by a curse placed by the goddess of fertility and the god of the land. No one could leave except for her and Jano, and even their freedom came at a cost. "I would gladly leave with you, my daughter," Adana said, her voice breaking, "but without me, Jano will not be able to move freely. The spirits have claimed him as my son. He brings back food and herbs to sustain our people. If I go, he may become trapped." Nana's heart ached at the thought of leaving without her mother, but determination set her jaw. "There must be a way," she said. That night, under a sky scattered with stars, Nana asked Jano to take her to the place where he had encountered the spirits. The forest seemed to breathe around them, its ancient magic thrumming beneath their feet. When they reached the clearing, Nana called out, her voice echoing in the stillness. "I am Nana, daughter of the river gods, queen of the 5 kingdoms, the unifier. I call upon the god of the land and the goddess of fertility. Hear me." A wind swept through the clearing, cold and biting. Trees groaned and bent, and from the shadows emerged 2 figures. The god's eyes were molten gold, fierce and unforgiving. The goddess shimmered like moonlight on water, her expression unreadable. "Why do you call us daughter of the rivers?" the god asked, his voice a low growl. "I seek to lift the curse on Budo," Nana said, standing tall despite the storm that roared around her. "My mother's people deserve freedom." The goddess's eyes narrowed. "Freedom comes with a price. 2 generations bound by blood and love must unite to break the chains." Jano, who had been watching in stunned silence, stepped forward. "If that is the cost, then let it be so. I will give everything for Budo's freedom." The god's gaze shifted to Jano and then back to Nana. "You must marry, but it must be true love, forged not by duty, but by choice." Nana's heart fluttered at the thought. "We have only just met," she said, a nervous laugh escaping her. "How can love grow under such pressure?" Jano looked at her, his eyes steady. "Then let us find out." Then Nana asked, "You spoke of 2 generations. Who would be the second?" Then the spirit said, "Your mother, Adana, and King Icum, Jano's father. Their love was indeed remarkable." Nana smiled to the realization that her mother wasn't just lost in all these years. She was glad that she actually lived and loved too. In the days that followed, Jano did everything to show Nana his devotion. He walked with her through the village, showing her hidden gardens and secret paths where the sun broke through the canopy, painting the ground with gold. He told her stories of Budo's past and of his dreams for the future. Nana found herself drawn to his quiet strength, the way he cared for his people, the way he looked at her as if she were the answer to a question he'd always carried. One day, as they sat by a stream, Jano handed her a delicate necklace woven from forest vines and small, rare stones that sparkled like the river. "For you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "A piece of Budo, from my heart to yours." Nana's breath caught as she took the gift, fingers brushing his. The warmth of his hand and the sincerity in his eyes made her heart race. That night, as the moon cast a silvery glow over the village, they shared their first kiss, a promise sealed by their mutual longing for hope and love. Suddenly, a brilliant white light enveloped the village, illuminating every corner and casting the trees in stark relief. The glow pulsed, then vanished as quickly as it came. The air felt different, lighter, freer. At dawn, the villagers discovered new paths in the forest, pathways that led beyond the boundaries they had known all their lives. They ran back to the palace, their cries filling the air, "Nana, the unifier. Jano, our beloved prince. Adana, our savior." Adana held her daughter's hand as tears of joy streamed down her face. "You have done it, Nana. You have freed us." Nana turned to Jano, a smile breaking across her face. We did it. Together, Jano's eyes glistened with emotion as he took her hand. And together we will lead. The people of Budo rejoiced, their songs of liberation echoing into the forest, carrying the promise of a new dawn, one filled with hope, unity, and love.